The Leading Edge Cricket Podcast is absolutely sick of hearing about ball tampering.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, episode 17, and we're here today to review the intriguing second day of the second test match between New Zealand and England, as well as take a look at the first 2 days cricket in South Africa with this new, revitalised, ball tampering, sandpaper-esque Australian team. Were they abrasive? Did they work? I don't know. We're going to find out. And David Warner has finally broken his silence on Sandpapergate. I'm Rob, one half of the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, as always, joined by my co-host Rich.
Hey Rob, how are we going?
We're doing great, mate. We're doing great. How has Easter weekend been?
Not bad, buddy. Not bad. Not bad. Destroyed one of my first Easter egg, so I'm happy about that.
The first Easter egg. That implies there's
more
more than one.
Yeah. There are multiples.
There are multiple Easter eggs. And where do these Easter eggs come from? Has the bunny been round, or is this family or friends?
Can confirm. Well, the usual, mate. I don't think the bunnies come round. I don't think that's not real, Rob. So sorry to break that to you, mate.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, you know, I'm just going to go harsh from the start here, buddy. So, yeah, no Easter bunny.
Wow. So
just goes to shop.
Talking of Easter bunny, so you've got the Easter bunny, you've got Santa Claus and these different things. Then there's the thing when you're younger, you get the tooth fairy come round, right? And the tooth fairy, your tooth comes out, you put it under your pillow, and you get some money. Now, the question is, how much money did you get when the tooth fairy used to come round, Rich?
Oh, mate, it was silver. Definitely silver money. You're probably talking 20p.
20p. 20p.
Yeah,
inflation.
yeah.
I found out yesterday, one kid, $5 a tooth. $5. That's £2.50 a tooth.
That's outrageous.
It's a £50 mouth.
I'd have been smashing my teeth out when I was a kid. I mean, especially if it's your baby teeth. You didn't need them anyway, did you?
You don't. Unbelievable, Jeff. I was shocked. Inflation's hit the roof. Back in
could have
my
got a
day,
new version of Brian Lara's cricket.
You could have done. It's incredible. A game for the Spectrum. That's about £3 from the local computer shop.
Oh, we're dating this one now, mate.
Nothing like a dated reference to make you feel really old in life. So let's leave the tooth fairy there, Rich. Let's have a look and see what's happened on day 2 between England and New Zealand.
Yes, mate, yes. Right, let's dig straight into it. So we end the day. Day 2 has ended. New Zealand, 192 for 6. Doesn't sound too excitable that day, does it? But,
no.
But it was a hell of a day, pal. We start off, so England, they ended up being 307 all out. If you remember, we joined it overnight with Bairstow 97 not out and debutant Jack Leach 10 not out. So Johnny Bairstow, he did bring up his 5th test century. The innings was quickly wrapped up. Southey and Bolt doing their usual what they do. Leach was out for 16 and then Bairstow 101. To leave Jimmy 8 stranded on 0. Not out again. Who knows what it could have been for Jimmy 8 again.
Oh, there's a big one in the bag there.
Without a partner. There probably is. I mean, there's a 50 on there at least if he'd have had partners. But,
definitely.
But we'll that's what we'll say anyway. So well bowled again for Southey and Bolt. It was Bolt who got the last man. Bairstow caught down at third man on the boundary. Bairstow just trying to uppercut one, if you like. Leach, it was a sharp, really good delivery from Southey, just going across Leach, caught behind. So we finished off 4 for 87 for Bolt, 6 for 62 for Southey. Fantastic effort from them.
Yeah.
We mentioned the other bowlers yesterday. That didn't really do a hell of a lot.
No, interesting the comparison between the England bowling attack and the New Zealand one. This New Zealand attack, they need Bolt and Southey to be on form, like Broad and Anderson need to be on form for England, and then there's not a great deal of wicket-taking options in the rest of the lineup. Interesting.
Yeah, it appears so. So they wrapped that one up, and 307 all out. So New Zealand, you're expecting big things from New Zealand. Well, didn't quite go to plan, Rob. Latham, first man to go, 3 ball duck. I think that was in a second over, I forget now. But basically, it was caught behind off Broad. That made it 1 for none, or none for 1, depending on which part of the world you're from. Jeetan Ravel, he played and missed a few. He fell soon after for 5. Score at 14 for 2. Again, caught behind this time off Anderson. He didn't really want to go straight away. He was dreading looking at the umpire to put his finger up, but it was inevitable. Ross Taylor, he didn't last long either. He was gone as well. He was caught Cook, bowled Broad, nice sharp low catch from Cook for 2 off 13 balls. That made it 17 for 3. And then Henry Nicholls as well, score still on 17. It was 17 for 4. England on fire. Nicholls, LBW bowled Broad. I think this was a reviewed one. It was pretty out. It was pretty
Yeah.
out. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So the umpires make these issues, mistakes sometimes, don't they? So that was a 7-ball duck for. He's back to being Harvey Nichols now. It's not Henry Nichols today. So we had it at 17 for 4. And England haven't had a spell like that for quite some time.
Yeah.
So cracking effort. They were really bowling well. They were beating the back consistently. And it didn't end there. Big wicket. Skipper Kane Williamson. He fell just after lunch. New Zealand. 36 for 5 at that point, caught behind off Anderson again. So we're looking at it then. Can England get through New Zealand? Can they skip them out? Can they have a big lead, a couple of hundred lead in the game? Maybe not. So BJ Watling, Colin de Grandhomme came together. They put on 142 for that wicket. They took New Zealand to 178 for 6 by the time de Grandhomme went. In between this time, there was a lot of different plans, let's say, being set by the Englishmen. Lots of short stuff, round the wicket bowling at these guys, setting the trap, setting the men out on the boundary, multiple men out on the boundary. I think Broad said at the end of the day that it was something that they wanted to try. Other teams have tried it a lot against England, but it's not something England have tried against other teams. So they wanted to give it a go. It was okay. I think England think that they bowled pretty well, but maybe they just didn't show enough patience. Maybe they could have continued what they were doing, got Leach to bowling a little bit more, maybe slightly different fields for Leach so he could bowl a bit more at the stumps. But it is what it is, and Watton and de Grandhomme deserve a lot of credit for their 142-run partnership. So Grandhomme went caught behind off Broad. So it was 151 balls, 72 for him. Watling and Southey took New Zealand to 192 for 6 at close when bad light made them leave the field. Watling unbeaten on 77 not out, a really watchful, quite a patient innings. And I don't think that's quite his game. And Southey on 13 not out. So they're still trailing by 115 runs going into tomorrow. It's going to be really interesting. They're set up in a weird way. It might be 6 down, but Watling, he's there. If he can go on and put a score, Southey can score quickly. And then the other guys coming in, Sodhi still can bat. Wagner and Bolt can still hold the bat. They know which end to hold, don't they?
Yeah.
Trail by 115. New Zealand have just got to close that gap, haven't they? If England can start the day disciplined, then they should be able to close it up. We'll just talk about the batting if you want for a minute, Rob, and then we'll touch on the bowling.
Yeah. So, great day for England. Overall, a great day's Test cricket for England.
Really
and it's been a long time since we've seen this. I was reading something, I think it was from Mike Atherton. England haven't got 20 wickets in an overseas series since 2016 against India. And it's a hell of a long time. And seeing Broady back to his fluent best, and there's no one in world cricket like Broady when he gets on a roll. Absolute no one. No one can do what he's done in multiple Ashes series, where he just gets on one and he rolls straight through him. Kiwis, they probably took a bit of a leaf out of England's book. Like, there was some cracking bowling in there, but Ross Taylor will go, that wasn't a very good shot. Flashing outside the stump. Tom Latham, a little bit caught on the crease playing a hard-handed drive. Not the best shot he could be playing. Jeetan Ravel's he doesn't quite look up to this standard just yet. But sometimes I look at openers when they play against England on a wicket like this, not in Australia, but anywhere else in the world, and I'm going, I don't think I'd do very well against Anderson and Broad when they're bowling well either, mate. So maybe you'll get another go in another series. But I think, like England, New Zealand may well have a bit of a gap at opener going into the next series that they're going to play in.
I'd agree.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. But England were great. Bowling well, bowling wickets, beating the bat, looking solid, looking like they were in complete control of the game and like they've been in this position time and time again. You wouldn't know this team had lost 9 out of 10 last Test matches. But Watling and de Grandhomme, absolutely top-notch. De Grandhomme played fairly attacking, but for him, it was really pulling the reins back from where he wanted to go. And watching England bowl short at them was good. And watching Mark Wood bowl pretty fast, not as fast as what we've seen in bowling in the past, at their throats was good, but they overdid the tactic. It's almost Joe Root feels he needs to keep changing little bits, but what he actually didn't do was go orthodox at any point. They'd taken all these wickets by bowling line and length, top of off stump, challenging the batsman, and then they just kind of went away from that. When Leach was bowling, Leach had 2 slips. Okay, so he's bowling outside off stump. Okay, that takes the pressure off from the non-turn-in delivery, and you're just basically saying every ball's going to be the same ball. Why not put a man under the lid in short and bowl at the stumps and then play, okay, so it might spin or it might not spin. Let's try and change things up there. Wood, yeah, he's fast, but we don't have to use him in that enforcer role of bowling short round the wicket into people every single time he's bowling. Let him bowl. Let him bowl at the top of off stump and try and pick up a few wickets, because it worked for Anderson and Broad.
Yeah, no, absolutely, buddy. You're spot on with everything you said there, and I think that's something that everyone was talking about with Wood, wasn't it? It just seemed to be over-egging it, just overdoing it. We didn't really need to persevere as much. Let Wood bowl at the top of off if you can. They brought Stokes on. Stokes, he wasn't set to bowl in the game, but he seemed to be okay in the morning as they were warming up. So he bowled 3 overs. And he actually did do what Broad and Anderson did. He bowled the ball up, and he looked like he was a threat. He wasn't bowling at full tilt, was he? And like you said with Leach as well, I mean, Graham Swan made the fantastic point, which kind of we've both sort of touched on, is that it was a very predominantly offside field for Leach. So when you're doing that, you're having to bowl on the offside, outside of that off stump, to protect yourself a little bit. So, a more balanced field for Leach, he can attack the stumps, he can attack LB. If Watling wants to sweep him, then great, sweep him. Try and sweep him all day. You would back your spinner at some point to be able to take that wicket. Yeah. Would give him chance to bowl up there, bowl an Anderson spell if you like, in one of his 2.5, 3 over spells. So it's a strange one for Root. We're talking about a fantastic day for England, 192 for 6 for New Zealand, but we're kind of looking at it from that point of view as an old English fans going, do you know what? At 36 for 5, have we missed a trick here? Should they have been 150, 160 all out?
Yes, they should.
Were we trying to get too smart? Were we trying to just try and change things too much for the sake of it? Jimmy Anderson 2 for 43 off 19, 4 for 38 abroad, brilliant. Just, I hope we're not looking at this tomorrow going, do you know what, England missed a trick here.
Yeah.
But they've still got that lead of 115, so we'll have to see how it develops into tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, it's an intriguing third day's Test cricket. The first 2 days have been great. This Test cricket is exactly what we thought it should be. 2 evenly matched teams going toe-to-toe, and someone will win session 1 and someone will win session 2. England yesterday absolutely smashed the back end of session 1, won session 2, and the third session will probably go to the Kiwis. And that's the sort of Test cricket you expect between 2 evenly matched teams. At the start of the series, we went through position by position. And they said the bowling's very similar, the top 6 is very similar, and the wicketkeeper's very similar. So it's great to see you getting this, but unfortunately it's the last Test match of the summer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's win or bust for England now, isn't it? They've got to get something out of this. There's going to be big questions. If they draw this, if they win, it shouldn't really make too much difference. But because of how the winter has gone, and say winter, obviously from our perspective, how it's gone, if we don't get a result in this, there's going to be massive questions with personnel, coaching, everything. So, a win for England here would take a heck of a lot of pressure off going into the English summer.
Yeah, it definitely would. So, day 3 is going to start. This podcast is coming out on Sunday morning, New Zealand time. So the Test match is going to start at 11 a.m. in about 3.5 hours from where we are now. Where do we expect to see this game by the end of the play?
That's a good question, mate. That's a good question. I don't want to try and hedge all bets here, but it really does depend. You've got Watling going really well. If England can get him out early, if Southey tries to hit out, bowl a good line to him, don't try and do anything smart, just bowl a good line and let him get himself out, then you're talking, New Zealand could be all out for 220, 230.
Easy.
England has a lead of 70 or 80, and then England can go ahead. Hopefully England could, bat at least, I don't know, where would we be looking then? You'd want England to be 200 for 4, 200 for 5, maybe by the end of the day.
Yep.
But let's spin it around the other way. If Watling gets going and he gets himself to 120, 130, Southey comes off, drop catch maybe here or there, gets up to about 40 odd, the tail wags. New Zealand could quite easily be on a par with England, if not with a bit of a lead.
Yeah.
And then there's the pressure comes back to the England top order. Cook's not in form. Stoneman's hit and miss at the minute. Vinge, this could be his last innings for England.
It could,
especially in a test match jersey. So you've got massive pressure on the England top order. The difference between going in with a 100 lead versus a small deficit when you expected to have a lead at 36 for 5 it's going to make all the difference, mate. If New Zealand get a lead or get on a par, I think New Zealand can go on to win this.
Yep.
If England can get a lead of about 70 or 80, then I would hope England can go on and do it because they're in the box seat, so they should go on. But
it's a belter.
My confidence has been hit.
It's a good wicket to bat on. There's no demons in the pitch. I think by the end of today, you're going to see New Zealand. They're going to get rolled over. I think Broad and Anderson are going to come hard. New ball's due in 5 overs or so. I think New Zealand will be cleaned out for about 220 today. And I think we'll finish the day's play and either James Vince or Alistair Cook, one of the two, will go on and be 70, 80 not out at the close of play. And England will have about a 260, 270 lead. That's my call.
If Vince does it, mate, you better remind me of this if Vince does that, because that'll be one of the great calls.
Sometimes I don't really understand what comes out of my mouth. Yeah, James Vince is going to get runs. Yeah, of course he is, mate.
My goodness, yeah. Well, I hope he does. That's all I'll say, mate. Whether I expect it, that's a different thing.
We will see. We will see. Let's move on to the Wanderers, Rich, and let's take a look at Australia, South Africa, and we're coming off Sandpaper Gate. It's a rejigged Australian lineup. We touched on the actual teams, and I think it was 88 for 1 at lunch on day 1 for South Africa last time we spoke. Where do we stand now at the end of day 2?
At the end of day 2. Australia, they've had a tough day today. It couldn't have been much tough. To be honest, they've had as tough a 2 days of Test cricket that they've had in a long time. Totally to be expected. A very confident, a very stable South Africa coming up against an Australia side where cricket hasn't really been a focus this week.
Yep.
You've got 3 or 4 blokes that have only just arrived in the country playing. You've got a guy who's captain who's lost all his star players. Mitchell Stark's out injured, so you've got a debutant with the ball. It was to be expected. So I think probably the best thing, let's go from the top here. South Africa, they kept the same team, didn't they? But Australia, obviously, as we know, Renshaw and Burns in as openers for Warner and Bancroft. Peter Handscomb finally gets a game. At the moment, I think he wishes he hasn't. He's in for Smith, and we have Chad Sayers in for the injured Mitchell Stark. So, South Africa, 488 in their first innings. A great effort. Dean Elgar, 19, he was dismissed. He couldn't be that man this time. I think we said leading edge off the spinner.
Yep.
Aidan Markram, I've got to just take a second, 152. He batted beautifully. We've gone on about him quite a few times, and I don't want to kind of sit here going, "Oh, we told you so" on this fella. But I'm telling you, he's a stud. He's a stud. This is his 4th century in 10 games, 10 Test matches.
Yeah.
152. He beat his previous best, I think it was 143. He's just a star in the making. I'm telling you, there's no way in the world that this guy is not going to be a star of world cricket in the next 12 months or so. Everybody's going to know this guy's name. He's just a talent. The shots he's got, the temperament he seems to have, he's just a talent. And it was just such a good to see him put that score together. Ably assisted A.V. de Villiers again. He's had a superb series, 69 for him. 95 not out today. Bavuma. Bless his little... I love this guy. Do you know what? I would have loved to have seen him and James Taylor bat together.
How tall is he?
Bavuma basically, I think he gives about an inch to Taylor.
Oh.
I don't think tall is a word we can use for Bavuma or James Taylor, but he is such a nice little player. He was a really good knock in it. And they play in such a similar style, Temba Bavuma does. So it was really nice to see him go at it, but he got stranded on 95.
Yep.
He was going really well. Rabada, the night watchman, he went. De Kock 39. Philander got 12. Maharaj batted really well for 45. He was dismissed, caught behind off Cummins. Another one of those guys that we're really big on. If we had to do a leading edge 11, Markram's at the top of the order. Cummins is in the team for me. So he dismissed it. And then Morkel got one of the best receptions you will ever hear, probably coming out to bat for the last time at the Wanderers, in a South Africa shirt, playing a test match for South Africa. And he got caught first slip or second slip, first ball.
He'll savour that moment for the rest of his life, though, that walkout.
Yeah, and you know what? Credit to Australia as well. They gave him a really, really good, good ripple as he came to the crease as well. So that was really nice to see. But as much as that was about Morny Morkel, he looked just horrified. And poor old Bavuma, 95 not out. He deserved a century. It would have been his second century. So bad luck for him, but a great effort. 488 all out. Our boy Pat Cummins, 5 for 83. Was the definite pick of the bowlers. 2 for 78 for Chad Sayers. We saw Tim Payne standing up to him a lot, so he's a very medium-paced seamer.
Yes.
Bit of it's a strange one seeing him in the Test side, especially in a one, opening the bowling, day one pitch and having a keeper stood up. It was a bit club cricket.
It is a little bit. Having a keeper stood up to a seamer, that's a bit strange.
Yeah, even I get a bit upset when someone stands up to me, and I deserve someone standing up to me. but hey-ho. You'll appreciate this one. Well bowled, Gary. Nathan Lyon, 40 overs, 3 maidens, 3 wickets. That all sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Went for 182.
Oh, Gary. What are you doing, Gary?
Battered, Gary. That's a daddy 100, that is. Well battered.
82, wow. I never went for that many.
You don't want to talk about those figures, do you? So South Africa were just bossing it, basically. They were running Australia into the ground. Temba was moving the ball around. So real tough work for Australia. Australia finally decided that, got into having a bat. Really good opening spell from Philander and Rabada, put the pressure on. Joe Burns went first, caught behind off Rabada, just sort of offered an angled bat out there. Didn't really drive, didn't really commit, nicked off, he's gone. Little while after that, Matt Renshaw, caught Duplessis, he was, Joe Burns. Matt Renshaw went a little bit after, caught behind off Philander again, just fiddling his bat out there, didn't really commit to it.
Yeah.
So at that point, 2 for 34. At the other end, Khawaja, he'd come in and he'd really, looking like he wanted to take it on, looking like he wanted to, be the senior player that he now is, which is terrifying to say. But so he kind of stuck it out for a while, and he was scoring relatively freely. You've got to have sympathy for this guy, though. Peter Hanscom. He come in. He looked a bit twitchy, I thought. But first ball, mate, he went to leave. Well, he went to play, then he went to leave, and he got one of those little flicks off the bat that just dragged back on and hit his leg stump. And he was out first ball. He looked gutted, mate. So the 3 replacements got 12 runs between them.
Oh, dear. That's worse than the American football season, the replacements.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have no comment. so we're at 3 for 38 at that point. Khawaja goes at 4 for 90. He got 53. He batted well. Caught behind off Vernon Philander that bowled really well. Sean Marsh went caught slip off Maharaj, caught De Villiers for 16, and Mitch Marsh was bowled by Morkel just before the end of the day. So we had Tim Payne 5 not out, Pat Cummins 7 not out. With the ball, Vernon Philander 12 overs 3 for 17, 7 maidens. 7 maidens. That's a great effort. Just a superb effort.
Yeah.
1 for 24 for Rabada, 1 for 23 for the retiring Morkel, and 1 for 35 for Kesh Maharaj. So decent day for South Africa, I think we can say.
Very, very good day for
Very
South
decent.
Africa. This was what everybody expected, but part of me, just the Aussie grit, just the way they dig in, and you roll back to the 90s, and you've got the guys, the next man up in the Australian team would normally walk into any other cricket team in the world, like Stuart Law, one of the finest first-class players to ever play the game, played 1 test match, scored 51, but couldn't get a game because there were 2 wars in front of him. It's not quite the same depth in Australian cricket that it used to be. Or it may just be a case the rest of the world has finally caught up to them, and they will just be wanting to get on the plane and get home. Khawaja, superb. Khawaja's turned himself into a hell of a test player. He's actually 31 years old.
Does not seem it, does it?
No, he doesn't.
He still seems... He's like a mid-20s for me. I can't believe he's 31.
Yeah, and he averages 42 in test cricket, but if you take it from the start of 2015, so the last 3.5 years, say, he actually averages 50 in Test cricket as opposed to 42. So you can see how he's been heading forward in Test cricket, and over time he's kind of got used to it. But it seems such a long time he's been around the game to only play 30-odd Test matches.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, when he came out to bat today, they flashed up his average, and I couldn't believe it. If you had held a knife to my throat and said, "What's Usman Khawaja's average?" and I don't know why you would do that, Rob. I mean, that's just a nasty thing to do, mate. So don't do that. But if you did, 30, 38 at the most, I'd have been generous giving him that. But it just shows you how he's just gone about his business, hasn't he? He's a really nice stroke player, but he's starting to show that grit, and Australia are going to need him. They're desperate. They really need him to be a player. Sean Marsh, he's an old boy now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
In relative terms, he's still younger than us probably, but he's an old boy. But Matt Renshaw, Joe Burns, Hanscom, which one of those blokes is going to step up? George Bailey's on the in the squad, but he's not a young fella anymore, is he? So Australia is back to the drawing board. The next time we're really playing meaningful Test cricket is I think they're playing India, aren't they? At the start of their next year, so they've got a long period without really much Test cricket.
Yeah.
So they've got time to start blooding some young blokes in some of the one-dayers and some of the more meaningless Test cricket that they've got coming up.
They've got to, and they've got so many holes to fill. We think the England batting lineup all of a sudden is a bit fragile. This Australian one has got serious issues. Khawaja's a decent player now. Shaun Marsh, you do sometimes wonder how much longer Shaun Marsh can be, but Australia do have a history of plucking 30-odd-year-old guys into the team who can just get it done. But he averages 38 in Test cricket. Take Peter Handscomb, right? Averages 45 in Test cricket. Scored more than 50 in his first 7 innings, I think. He averaged more than 50 in his first 7 innings in Test cricket. If you take his stats from the start of 2017 to now, the guy averages less than 40. He, at the moment, is not the answer, and his unusual technique that got sawed him off to a decent start isn't quite having the same effect. Renshaw and Burns, inconsistent, not quite sure they're the answer. Mitchell Marsh has had a great summer. He's had the best summer that he could have ever imagined that he would have done. But you've still got to look at him and go, is it the long-term answer? This team all of a sudden has problems at opener, they've got problems in the middle of the order. And you've got to say the bowling lineup, they're probably short of one seamer at the moment, because Sayers definitely is not the answer to get them done. So the Aussies have a lot of time between now and playing India. They've got a few meaningless Test matches. They've got the start of the first-class season will roll around again. And it'd just be interesting to see where they end up, because this could be a real big turning point for Australian cricket.
It's a massive year. It's a year of opportunity, isn't it? There's got to be some fellas out there going, right, I've not got a Warner, I've not got a Smith, I'm going to step up. I'm going to go and score a hatful of runs, whether it's someone who's not playing much Test cricket in some of these tournaments around the world, whether it's someone having a stint in county cricket, or when the Shield comes around next year. With the bowling as well, one thing I want to make, jump on your point about Chad Sayers. He looks an okay bowler. He's a bit of a Tom Curran. Yeah. Not really got that pace. He's got the variation. He bowls a good line. But he's not really going to give you much going forward if you want to be a top side. So maybe he's more of a limited overs or just a squad bowler, if you like. So I think we looked at it before. You've got Cummins, you've got Hazelwood. When Mitch Stark's fit and firing, and I don't want to be cynical and suggest that there was a lack of reverse swing today. Purely coincidental, Rob.
Well,
and it was more to do with the fact that Mitch Stark wasn't playing rather than any other potential explanation. So
it's funny you mention it, though. It's funny you mention it, because there was a report in the South African newspaper saying sandpaper sales have gone down in the last week.
I thought they'd have gone up with all the kids trying to get them signed at the game. But no, the point I just want to quickly make is if you've got Hazelwood, Cummins and Stark all in the team, all fit and firing, that is as good a bowling lineup as you'll possibly see.
Yep.
But we had it in the Ashes. They had, his name's just slipped my mind. Who was the guy that came in at the end of the fifth test? He was the next bowler for them.
No.
Come on, Rob.
No.
Come on, I'm putting you on the spot. He played a bit... Jackson Bird, that's the fella. If there's any strange gap in the recording there, it means that we had to pause for a second while we remembered this bloody bloke's name.
Jackson Bird.
No disrespect to Jackson Bird, but he played at Notts a couple of years back, or a few years back now, and he was probably one of the most ordinary overseas bowlers I've seen, and to be honest, ordinary county bowlers I've seen. He just didn't look threatening at all. He made his way onto the periphery of the squad for the Ashes, and he's one of their backups. You got Chad Sayers there as one of the backups. I'm not scared or worried by these backup bowlers for Australia. So they're short 2 or 3 batsmen at the minute, which is pretty obvious.
Yep.
And they're short a bowler or 2 in the squad. So it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes. For this game, I mean, there's only one winner, isn't there? There's no way in the world Australia is going to bat out enough time in this game to beat South Africa. I doubt they even make South Africa bat again in this series.
No, they won't.
So, so it's really now Australia playing for pride. I want to just make a point about Tim Payne. He's been given the captaincy. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, Rob, but he was interviewed after the game. And what he'd done before this test match, he said he's been watching a bit of super sport or whatever it is. And they've had a lot of English football, or soccer, as he put it, disgracefully. And he was talking about the handshakes before the game. And he noticed that. And he thought, do you know what? Cricket's supposed to be a gentleman's game. It's obviously not in a good place at the moment. So he spoke to Faf du Plessis on the morning of the test match. And they agreed to actually do a kind of a respect handshake before the game.
Nice.
So Tim Payne, straight out the gate, he understands. He's obviously got his own ideas of what captaincy is. And he went ahead. They did that. He said he's probably going to take it forward. Probably not every Test match, but maybe the first Test match of a series or the first game of a series. And I think that's a fantastic first gesture from Tim Payne. We can look at it cynically if we want as a PR exercise. I don't think it is. He seemed to be talking about it as if it was his idea. So I quite like that. He was also just talking about how, there was quite a long range, wide ranging and quite a long interview, so I won't really go into it. But he was talking about how, Lehmann, it looks like he's a bit more relaxed now. He's made his decision, and also just talking about how the squad that they've got now and the team that they're putting out isn't really a team with guys that really want to get aggressive and sledge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they want to play it in a little bit better way, in a bit more of an honest way. So maybe this is the first step to seeing a change in this Australian side. Very respectful for Morning Morkel. Let's see how it goes.
I'd love to. I can't wait for a few years' time where someone writes an autobiography and they look back on this Australian team with David Warner as the attack dog of the team, and then you've got all these guys all of a sudden where the dog's been put to sleep, and you're in a position where people just kind of breathe and go, "Oh, we got hammered, but I really enjoyed my day." It's a different atmosphere to be around.
It is, and it's a strange one because I've read a lot of articles recently. And I don't want to bang on about the ball tampering stuff, but there's been a lot of people criticising, a lot of people, praising. And there's another article that I've read today, and I've shared that there's just such good writing going on in Australia at the moment, and some of the media are just picking up on the real kind of subtle points. And one of them is this quick transformation from everybody, including the Prime Minister of Australia, wanting to kill these Australians.
Yeah.
Then the actual ban came out, and people were like, "Oh, that's a bit harsh." And then we had all the waterworks and the tears at all the press conferences, which we'll touch on one just before we finish today. And now we've got a population, or a part of the population, kind of going, do you know what? I feel sorry for them blokes. How long is it going to be before they go, why isn't Warner back in the team? Why isn't Smith back in the team? When they're losing against somebody. Yeah. And it just, I just hope that they all accept their punishments, and Australia can start to heal and start to understand why they got to this point.
Yeah.
And Tim Payne, like I say, first step on the way of hopefully developing a new culture in Australian cricket.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that is a perfect segue to go into the ball tampering gate, which we said in the last episode we wouldn't touch on again. But David Warner's come out and finally broken his silence.
Yeah, we're going to keep this brief because, like I say, we're pretty tired out from talking about this, aren't we? So he had a press conference as well. He was very prepared, and he was also very emotional. It was a really tough watch again, and from a purely personal point of view, and looking at him as an individual, you're hard pressed to not feel a little bit of sympathy for any of these guys, regardless of what they've done before. Just looking at the fella in that situation, when he starts talking about how much he appreciates the support and love of his wife and his children, and who he's let down. He went through and apologised to everybody, cricket South Africa, the fans, the population of Australia, blah, blah, blah. It was tough to watch. And he sounded as if he was honest, coming from the heart. But he's done what he's done, so we're not just going to change our minds because the guy's got emotional, are we?
No.
The main takeaways really were interesting. Big takeaway for me was that whilst he said that he still had a tiny ray of hope he may play for Australia again in the future, he's pretty much resigned to the fact that he won't. So he's obviously, he knows, and we don't know what conversations have gone on behind doors, but it's clear that behind the scenes he has been painted as the villain of the piece, isn't it? Steve Warner's the kind of the almost like the innocent hero who's made a mistake. And Bancroft is the stooge, isn't he? He's the silly bugger that did it, but it wasn't really him. It was all Warner. And it's going to be interesting in time to see whether Warner offers a little bit more, because he didn't really give much away today. But all he kept saying was that he accepted my responsibility for my actions and for my part in this incident. Which, obviously, reading between the lines, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
Is it just the Steve Smith is the Cam Bancroft, or is there something else at play here?
We don't know. We don't know, and purposely they're not giving much away because there's going to be this full investigation by either Cricket Australia or Cricket Australia Association to try and work out what that is. One line that I really didn't like was basically, all I ever wanted to do was bring glory to my country through playing cricket. Now, I don't like it. I don't like the way he plays cricket at all. Absolutely detest it. And if that's the number one thing, if that's the number one thing that he wanted to do, he's done it by all means possible. And his all means are not acceptable by the world of cricket.
No, exactly. And one of the articles I was talking about just now, they spoke about it's not just Warner, it's not just Smith. This dates back to mid-'80s almost. This is Steve Waugh. This is early Steve Waugh, that sort of era, just drifting from border and all the rest of it. The way he played cricket, then under his stewardship, you had your Michael Clarke. He learned from him. Michael Clarke brought this forward, and under Michael Clarke, Steve Smith played. And it kind of just continues, doesn't it? All these guys, your Matty Hayden, your Andrew Simons, you kind of, Glenn McGrath's, Shane Warnes, they all had plenty to say. We've had plenty of incidents from Australia over the years, haven't we? Justin Langer, the way he's done things over the years, we won't go into all these things. But there's people out there that we've got a long train of people back to the mid-'80s that have developed the way Australian cricket is played. Which, they got away with it when they were just an all-conquering, players, not just of generations, but all-time greats all playing in the same 11, which just by pure chance that happened. David Warner, he's basically grown up in that, hasn't he? He's grown up in that environment of this is Australian cricket, this is how we play as a culture, this is what it is to be a man, and this is what it is to win. And it's so difficult that someone's come into an environment and he's took it too far, he knows that. But we've said it a few times, haven't we? The apparatus around him, Cricket Australia, the captaincy, the coach, everyone around him has created an environment and a culture which doesn't stamp this out early. It's like an unruly kid, isn't it? That no one actually told no to. He does what he wants, and that's what Warner's done. And it's caught up with him, and it's that realization that they've absolutely screwed up that's led him here, and that's led him to tears in a press conference.
Yeah,
he's also said, just quickly, he's also said that he's going to seek out advice and expertise to help him make serious changes, and he would look into who he is as a man. So this is big stuff, Rob.
It's big, it's deep, and he's still very short. That's what he's going to find out. Not getting heightish, but he's still got little man syndrome.
Oh, massively.
Out of all the three press conferences, taking Lehman out of the equation, let's talk Bancroft, let's talk Smith, let's talk Warner. Smith and Bancroft, sincerely apologetic, sincerely taking responsibility. Now, again, it's nitpicking, but Warner, he quoted, he basically said that they knew they were making a horrible decision and they knew the implications of that decision. But he's used "we" a hell of a lot in his press conference. He said, yes, I take full responsibility for my part. We don't know what that part is yet. But we know what the consequences are when we make horrible decisions like this. We let our country down. We made a bad decision. I played my part, and it's going to take a long time to earn the respect back from the Australian public. It's hard to sit here today knowing that and seeing my friends and family that are playing in South Africa at the moment in the fourth test, which I was a part of. It's the use of the word "we." Why can't it be "I let my country down. I made a bad decision"? It's totally right. It's almost taking away the responsibility that he had, and I'm sure it is going to come out that he is the absolute top dog of what's gone on here. And it's going to be a long rehab. I'm using little quotation marks here. Long rehab process for him as a person to come back from this. And I agree. I don't think he's going to play for Cricket Australia again. And I can guarantee everyone in world cricket, other than maybe a few Australians at the moment, don't want to see him play Test cricket again.
Yeah, it's going to be a strange one, isn't it? And I think you're probably right as well. People probably have got that affinity already with Bancroft and Smith, but Warner, like I say, he's been held out to dry. People have got less sympathy for him because we perceive, because of the way he's behaved previously, we're looking at him, and because of the rumblings behind it, it sounds like he's the instigator of it all. He's the villain, isn't he? That we're kind of looking at him and just going, yeah, he don't mean it. He's not truthful. He's not honest. It was all him. He's evil. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting. And there was talk today, the potential that he might actually throw a few more people under the bus. And all he did really, like I say, was kind of do the whole my part, what I've done. He was accepted that, but yeah, like you say, he didn't really accept it as a whole. He was getting behind. And from what you said and kind of the bits I've just pointed out, it does sound to me as if there's more to this story. I don't want it to keep going. I'm sick of it. But in time, whether it's weeks, months, it could be days, who knows? But somebody else is going to come out, whether that's Lehman had an idea, whether that's some of the backroom staff, whether it's other players. Another journalist made a point. Cape Town, it's a bloody small dressing room in there. It's an old ground, small dressing room. These blokes kind of knew what's going on. You're living in each other's pockets.
Yeah.
Whether this was the first time, again, we can dispute. Whether the coach knew, we can dispute. We don't know for certain. We probably never will. But there's other guys in that dressing room that might be absolutely disgusted with what's happened. But did they know? Were they involved through actually, seeing it happen and not doing anything about it? It's just so messy, isn't it? So the article I just mentioned, Robin, and just when you was talking about him not taking responsibility for himself, great quote from this. It's Malcolm Knox in the Sydney Morning Herald. Great quote. It's a century-old tradition in Australian cricket where disgrace has always been an orphan. Basically, it's nobody's responsibility. Whether that's James Sutherland at head of Cricket Australia, whether it's Darren Lehmann as a coach, whether it's Steve Smith. It never comes back to anyone. It's nobody's fault in the end. They'll all apologise, but they all move on. It's nobody's fault. A lot of people have just looked at Cape Town as being an issue. We apologise for what we did at Cape Town. The reason the whole world of cricket is so pissed off, and the reason the Australian public is so pissed off, is because of everything that's come before for the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
That's why, but they don't see that, do they? It's just a one-off incident and we move on.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to try somehow. We've said it 2 episodes on the trot. We don't want to spend any more time talking about ball tampering. And today I think we need to make a stand. Unless something new comes out. And this Cricket Australia process is going to take several weeks, several months, I guess, to come out. And hopefully it can be put to bed. They've all had the say. They've all got the bans. And we can go on and we can start talking about more exciting things, such as the IPL preview podcast, which is being recorded tonight, which will be released to you guys within the next 48 hours, where we'll be covering IPL 2018, all the teams involved, all the players, and our predictions on who's going to win the IPL. So watch out for that one. We've just gone over 250 likes on Facebook, 1,500 views on YouTube, and it is going very, very well, Rich. Any closing thoughts on cricket or the Leading Edge Cricket podcast from yourself?
No, just really looking forward to the IPL preview. I'm also just I really, really do hope that we don't have to mention the ball tampering again. And do you know what? I think the only way we will have to mention it is if any of those 3 idiots actually appeal any of the sanctions from Cricket Australia, if they come out and actually fight the ban after they've apologised and accepted responsibility. That will be the only time, and I might need about half an hour on my own just ranting.
Rant time with Rich.
It probably will be, yeah. So no, ready to get stuck into the podcast for IPL, and I've already done a part tally up. So I've got another God knows how many votes that have come in through the Facebook post for the IPL. Who's going to win? So I'm going to tally those up, and we're going to use your predictions as well, guys. At the moment, Chennai Super Kings, I think they might be quite highly fancied. But also Mumbai Indians and Royal Challengers Bangalore are joint second place in the vote. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when I tally them up a little bit later on. Interesting
to see. But that'll do it for today then, guys. There's nothing else from me. Anything from Rich?
No, all good.
Awesome. See you guys next time.